Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Okay, this is the free astrotheology course. Anyway, this is the free astrotheology course. Our textbook, The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC, the Christ Figure. All right? The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC, the Christ Figure. The author is Bill Darlington. Bill Darlington. All right, so we left off on page 23 yesterday. So we're going to pick it back up. Give me one moment, y'all. I'm eating a donut. Okay. This is black coffee, no sugar. I put a lot of water in it, so it's very dilute. Okay, so let's begin. Page 23, you will need, scholars, you'll need to listen to the last 2 or 3 videos for Pisces, because I'm not going to go through all of the details. What I'm going to do right now is briefly make some comments about the main incidents, maybe the zodiacal keywords, I don't know. I'm going to let it flow. But for everything, for chapter, verse, and all that, you need to watch those last 2 videos. So betrayal. The first main incident is betrayal. Okay, betrayal. Betrayal, and you open up your book to page, give me 1 second. Open your book up to page 204. Okay, betrayal has to do with the characteristics of Pisces. These are duplistic people, people who will set you up. Okay, they will set you up. They will intentionally deceive you. Clear? Clear? They will intentionally deceive you. Duplicity. Pisces, 2 fish swimming in opposite directions, but joined at the center by a thin band. So these are people who are connected to you, who have an obligation to you. Right? They have an obligation or a duty to do right by you. So these would be people who are close to you. Who can be closer than a mother and a father to their heir or their siblings? Y'all don't know what siblings are. That means brothers and sisters. The kinfolk, your cousins and them, and everybody in the neighborhood and the community. And the nation, the empire, they owe an obligation to you. They owe a debt to you, which is to not harm you. Right? That's the debt. Don't harm you. And you owe a debt to yourself, not to harm yourself. Okay? So on page 23, we see betrayal as one of the main incidents. And this is one of the main problems amongst the so-called blacks, the so-called African Americans, the so-called Latinos, so-called Indians, so-called Kemetic people or Cometians, and the Moors. Betrayal. Betrayal. Now remember, to betray someone means you harm them. So the natural law of cause and effect will kick in. Okay? And it will catch up with you. It will catch up with you and your family according to law. What law? Y'all remember? The Mosaic law, what does it tell you? What did Moses do? Do y'all remember? About the blood of the covenant? Y'all remember that? The covenant was sealed with blood. Wasn't the blood of an animal. That is not so. So, when you betray your ancient ancestors by not following their principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which are the Most High's instructions, which are the Most High's commandments, Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. When you betray your ancestors by betraying someone, another more, who you have an obligation to not harm, to stay in honor at all costs, even if it means you have to take a loss. Right? Because it's better to take a loss than to harm somebody in those gray areas, right? It's better to take a loss, keep the peace. But when you do that, you look into law. Okay, when you get attained, when you get hit with a bill of attainder, what are they going to say you are guilty of? Corruption of the blood. They're going to say you corrupted the blood. Therefore, you lose your inheritance. You can't receive an inheritance, and you cannot give an inheritance, and it affects your family. Not just your heirs, but all. Y'all go read up on it. Okay, so this betrayal that you are doing, now if it burns and if it stings, that means I'm talking to you. You're betraying those people who you have an obligation to. Push you, your heirs, and the rest of your kinfolk and the nation into the curses. You opened the door to be attained, atturned, and escheated. This is why they got you in religion, following religious doctrine, talking about you're for right. Knowing nothing about natural law. Betrayal, suffering. Okay? So when the natural laws hit you, when you get the curses, the punishments, the pains, right? So what bills of attainder, death, physical and civil, and then what? Bills of pains and suffering. Do you see it? You don't get death, physical or civil death. You get what? Pains and suffering. I hope everyone sees that natural law has not been forgotten. The hybrids who oppress you are oppressing you through natural law. They're letting nature do it. How? By controlling your language. By making sure you speak connotative linguistics and you have absolutely no idea about who you are. See, now we're talking about the Hermetic law of gender. Mental and feminine, masculine and feminine mental gender energy. Okay? You don't know anything about cause and effect. All you know is religious doctrine. Jesus coming back. You don't know anything about the law of rhythm and transmutation. All you know is Jesus is coming back, and the Great Tribulation, and Armageddon. Okay? So while you're living that way, you're breaking natural law left and right, and they're hitting you with bills of attainder. Death, pains, and sufferings all day long, all night long. Why? Because you are detached from nature. Okay? Almost all of you who are watching this video are well aware that astrology is in the scripture. Now, am I talking about newspaper astrology and hocus pocus? Absolutely not. I'm talking about the Mazzaroth and the Zodiac. The road, the pathway. The first Christians were called followers of the way. The way is the path, the roadway, the Mazzaroth. Cosmic energy. That's all it is, cosmic energy that influences everything on the planet, which has been religified amongst other things. Got y'all scared of it. But yet you use a cell phone all day, every day, not knowing how it works. Okay? But there's no wires. Y'all not calling that evil and of the devil. You're using Wi-Fi. There's no wires. You're not calling that evil and of the devil. So why would you call cosmic energy that contains intelligence that influences living and non-living things on the planet Earth? Why would you call that evil? Why would you even call that concept evil and wicked? I'll tell you why, because you were trained, you were taught that, so that you would never look into it and realize that you are that cosmic energy made manifest in the flesh from the soil. Genesis chapter 2, we're talking about autochthonous Moors. But you gave up your birthright. So now what are you doing? You're betraying each other and being betrayed, and you are suffering as a consequence. Why? Bills of attainder. All right, is it clear? Okay, so I just wanted to go through that a little bit. We're going to continue looking at sacrifice, death, and resurrection. These are all cosmic phenomena. They're involved in the story of the Earth's going around about the Mazzaroth, the pathway, the Zodiac. Each year, the sun enters into each of the 12 zodiacs, enters and exits each of the 12 zodiacs. That's what we're talking about. All right, so in its journey, its annual journey around that pathway, the way, the angles of the light coming from the sun and the constellations change. All right, clear? The direction of the sun changes. In one instance, in the fall going into winter, the sun is moving southerly toward the south, going down. From the winter, part of the winter, going into summer, the sun is moving north. So you see opposite directions of movement, south and north, south and north. All right? From autumn to winter, darkness begins to predominate. The number of nighttime hours progressively become greater than the number of daylight hours. In other words, Christ the sun, the S-U-N, sun, gets humiliated by the darkness. There's nothing the sun can do about it. Right? There's nothing the sun can do about it. Why? Because natural law says that the sun must go south. After the summer, well, from the summer solstice forward, the sun cannot continue going north, up, so it has to go down. Okay? There's nothing anybody can do about it. That's set in law. So therefore, the sun gets humiliated by the darkness. Okay? Hence, the devil humiliates JC, the Christ figure, in the gospel story. From the winter solstice, so here we are, summer solstice, winter solstice, June 21, 22, December 21, 22. December 21, 22, the winter solstice, the sun reaches its lowest point in the southern part of space. Y'all see? The sun moves horizontally, and then all of a sudden, at 12 midnight, at the end of December 24th and the beginning of December 25th, the sun moves a full 1 degree north, and that casts a 1 degree shadow on the sundial. Now the sun has changed directions and it's moving north. Now the sun is conquering the devil. And the sun reaches its highest point in the northern part of space on June 21, June 22, which is called the summer solstice. So there's a constant battle against good and evil. This is where the concept of let me come back to that. So here we see the sun is ascending, going up into the northern part of sky. So this is a dishonorable person, low vibrational, dishonorable person, becoming enlightened until he or she becomes the Christ. Y'all see it? So here at the winter solstice, the maximum level of dishonor, the maximum level of darkness. Okay, murderer, rapist, pedophile, you name it. Okay, so the worst kinds of people, the most ignorant people in terms of lack of knowledge, lack of education, they begin to learn, they begin to change their behavior and become honorable, and they become the Christ. Okay? So enlightenment is associated with, or enlightenment is associated with honorable behavior, Christ-like behavior. All right? But this Christ-like person can fall. Well, how do we know that? Well, the sun has no place to go but south. The Hermetic law of vibration, this is the positive pole of the same line. This is the negative pole. So the negative pole is always going to be low vibrational. Positive pole is always going to be high vibrational. We're talking about the Hermetic law of vibration. Is that clear? So depending on your level of vibration, that's going to determine whether you are dishonorable or honorable or in the middle or anywhere else along this line. So since the sun has no place to go but to fall south, what is it telling us? It's telling us that an honorable man or woman can move from honor into dishonor. Y'all see it? Is that clear? Due to what? The Hermetic law of vibration, the Hermetic law of rhythm. Y'all see it? So I'm not going to go through all of that stuff. You can watch the last 10, 15 videos I've done if you want the rest of that. But make the association between these main incidents and the Hermetic laws, also the zodiacal keywords. You should be able to reason your way through these stories and concepts. Okay? All right. So betrayal, suffering, sacrifice, death, resurrection. These are the experiences that J.C. the Christ figure underwent or had to undergo in his in the story about the historical Christ, right? Christ was betrayed, he suffered, he sacrificed, there was death and resurrection. Of course, you already know that the death occurred at the winter solstice, December 21, 22, and he was resurrected at 12 midnight on December 25. Everybody should know that by now. Zodiacal key words. These key words have to do with the Christian. With the Christian. Self-sacrifice. You need to be self-sacrificing. In other words, you need to give up all your hopes, all your time, all your money, if you're going to be perfect, right? You need to give all of that up, sacrifice it all, so you can be in good with your deity, the Tetragrammaton or JC, whoever it is that you follow. Self-sacrificing. That's the good Christian, and how good of a Christian you are depends on how much you are willing and able and actually do sacrifice. Hidden things. Your hidden things. Dreams. Suffering. Now the dreams had to do with Joseph, right? Suffering, compassion. Y'all see this? Christians have to what? Pick up their torture state and suffer. Have compassion on your enemies. Turn the other cheek, all of that foolishness. Secret enemies. Beware of secret enemies, you Christians, because they look at your Christ-like behavior and they want to do to you what they did to the Christ figure. Only they're not talking to Christians, not modern day Christians. This has to do with honorable men and women. Honorable men and women. People who are polarized rhythmically in honor. Whatever Christ's enemies, whatever the people did to Christ, they will do to you. Why? Because when they see you living in honor, staying in honor at all costs, not harming anyone, okay? Dealing honestly with people. When they see you doing that, you remind them of what they're not doing. Many of them will feel hurt just to see you. Others will feel hurt just to hear your name. Why? Because many of them want to be the center of attention. Everybody wants to be Michael Jordan, but nobody wants to put in the work. Everybody want to be Kobe Bryant, but they don't want to practice like Kobe Bryant. Okay? So they look at you, the Christ-like man with the wound, and they want to, I don't want to say the word, they want to L-L-I-K-U, spelled backwards, L-L-I-K-U, physically or civilly, or your reputation. All right, so whatever they did to Christ, these people will do to you. Just like he was betrayed by the people who were close to him. Then after his death, the story says they felt bad. All right, so let me take a look at some of the comment here. W-O-Y, him and Pale writes, 1 Corinthians 10:11, and all these came upon them as examples, and they were written as a warning to us, on whom the ends of the ages, okay, on whom the ends of the ages, what ages? That's the age of Aries. Age of Aries, beginning of Pisces, on whom the ends of the ages have come. 12. So that he who thinks he stands, let him take heed lest he fall. Okay? The man in honor or the woman in honor falls into dishonor. Why? Because of the decay, the death, the destruction, the pressure, the torment, the torture, the terrorism, the betrayal that happens at the end of every zodiacal phase and the beginning of another. So now we're at the end of Pisces and the beginning of Aquarius, right? Some people will say, no, we're still in Pisces, but Aquarius is coming. Doesn't matter. I'm only presenting what happens to you, or in the world rather, and to you, which can be avoided if you understand the Hermetic principles that I have been discussing. If you are polarized rhythmically in honor, you can avoid the rhythmic swing. The rhythmic swing of the pendulum. Y'all remember that? I'm not going to go into it because I want to finish Pisces. You can avoid these things that happen to the masses by being honorable at all times and all costs. All right, what Hermetic laws are involved, or techniques, or lesser laws? Cosmic habit force, neutralization, the law of rhythm. Okay? What are the techniques that you can use? The silver method and others, so on and so forth. All right? These will help you to avoid that rhythmic swing, okay, that occurs during all the zodiacal ages and during the transition. All right, so let's get into it. Oh, wait. So secret enemies, your friends, your family, your co-workers, stabbing you in the back, talking trash about you, smiling in your face, being nice to you around other people, making other people think y'all are so close, y'all are so tight, establishing in your friends and co-workers' minds that you and he or she are close, best friends, good friends, close. But then behind your back, they go and talk big SHIT about you. And it seems believable. Why? Because when you're around this person, they're pretending like y'all close. Or maybe y'all all are close. And your co-workers think, wow, they're close. That's his or her best friend. That's his girlfriend, his boyfriend, his man, his woman. It must be true. Why? Because they're envious of you. They're jealous of you. They want to see you out on the street, homeless. And then hopefully, in a lot of these sick people's mind, hopefully if they can get you homeless, maybe you begin to do even worse for yourself. Maybe you take drugs. Maybe you become an alcoholic. Or maybe, if you're unlucky, you get yourself killed. Now they are very happy to see you suffer and ultimately leave the earth plane early. Okay, so these are the deceivers, secret enemies, self-undoing, deception. All right? A lot of y'all probably are doing this kind of stuff to other people right now. Unfortunately, our people have been conditioned to be like that. All right? Not that they are like that naturally, but through your media, through your religion, and all of these sorts of things, y'all know what I'm saying is true. Give me 1 second. One second, y'all. I need to eat something. Okay. Let's begin. On page 206 at the bottom of the paragraph. The difference which Pisces so often displays is the key to our understanding the spiritual lessons of Pisces. So we need to focus on the difference. Now, yesterday, the last video before this one, we talked about how Pisces people have a lack of self-confidence. Not just, it's an extreme lack of self-confidence. They're scared of the future and ashamed of their past. But they're so afraid, so cowardly, they don't want the future. They rather stay with their past, with their shameful past. Y'all hear me? Particularly so when one cycle of life is coming to an end. What is this cycle? This cycle he's talking about is a zodiacal age. That's what all of this is about. These last days, remember, if you've been following these videos, the last days, this is just a change of the zodiac sign from Pisces to Aquarius. That's all it is. No such thing as last days and a great tribulation. All of that, that's religious remix. As I've been showing, as I go through this book, I've been showing it. I ain't made not nan thing up. And I'm going to show it one more again. You know, the thing about coffee, sometimes I prefer coffee that's more on the diluted side. Not all the time, but sometimes. It depends on the taste of the coffee. But anyway, let's continue. All right. The author continues. Part of us wants to stay in the security of the past. Security, even though you're suffering. Okay? Even though you're suffering. Like a lot of y'all suffering in religion. You're suffering on the job. You're suffering from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. But you've grown accustomed to, you're used to suffering. You're used to being in bondage. And you're afraid to walk out of bondage. How do I know? Because I've been in this, what I'm doing now, my entire adult life. My entire adult life. Teaching on these topics. All right? My entire adult life. Talking to people of all different religions. You name the country, I've already talked to them or taught them. Or what they say, preaching and teaching. From the time I was 17 or 18 years old, I've been at this. All right? So I know what the psychology is, and I've experienced leaving religion. I know how that feels and what's on your mind, the fear. Okay? I also know what it feels like to leave the dead civil status, the 14th Amendment civil status. I know what that feels like. All right? So it can be scary because you don't know what's going to happen as you make moves, right? As you transition out of civil death back into life. What life? Natural law. Your proper status. Right, y'all? Everybody follow me? When you get back into your proper person, your proper civil status. Okay? All right. So, listen. The author says here, this is one of the Piscean fishes, or one of the fishes in Pisces, swimming backward. That's you who's scared to leave your past, scared to declare your nationality, scared to start learning law, scared to stop going to those religious whorehouses. You're scared. That's the fish that's swimming backward. You don't like the past, but you're afraid to go into the future. You're afraid to change your thinking and your behavior. Okay? So that's the Pisces fish that's swimming backwards into the safe waters. Now y'all know when we deal with water and Pisces, that's emotions. See, you're terrorized and afraid, but you're used to it. So that's safe. Those are safe emotional waters for you. You know how to handle it. You're used to the curses already. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 68. You're already used to those curses. In fact, like Carter G. Woodson said, if the curses were not there, in your current state of mind, with your current self-image, you create curses for yourself. You go out and find a way to create curses. Why? Because that's the way human psychology works. Self-image psychology. Right? But it is at this point that we have to steel our resolve. But remember, Pisces has very weak resolve. Pisces has very weak consistency characteristics. Okay? How do you increase your resolve and consistency? You do it through the Hermetic laws, like I just talked about a little bit earlier. First, you understand and appreciate the Hermetic law of vibration. Okay? Understand and appreciate the Hermetic law of polarity, opposites. Understand and appreciate the Hermetic law of rhythm and the lesser laws of transmutation and neutralization. Okay? Cosmic habit force. And the Hermetic law of mental gender. And you can never ever forget the most obvious of all of the Hermetic laws, the law of cause and effect. All right, so if you've been following the videos that I've been doing over the past 4 to 8 weeks, I've been talking a lot about the Hermetic laws. You've been watching, you should be able to do this. Okay, you can change your character from dishonorable to honorable, or any other situation in your life. Excuse me. You can change your money situation, your finance situation rather. Okay, all of this through the Hermetic laws. Why? Because these are natural laws. Consciousness is nature. Okay? So let's continue. So I really hope that y'all will use the information that I'm giving you. Let me tell you this. You don't need weapons to gain your freedom. You don't need weapons to put yourself back on top or into the blessings. Let me make this statement. You read in the book of the law that the way to get back into the blessings are to follow the Most High's commandments, to follow the Most High's instructions. And then when we as a people do that, we go back into the blessings or material wealth. We go back into our proper status. We become the leaders across all areas of activity of men and women, of society, a civil society, right? We take our rightful place as the leaders, the elites, the nobles amongst the nations of the world, as it were. But do you realize how that happens, y'all? In other words, what's the mechanism of that? What is the mechanism? It's simply and nothing more than not harming other people, including yourself. In other words, it's simply following natural law. Don't betray anyone. Be honorable. And stay in honor at all. Now, you can do that. Now, there are certain mind sciences that you can use. You have mental faculties that you are not using, you are not even aware of. But let me give you the news. If you study yourself, become aware of these faculties. I don't want to tell y'all because I don't want to scare you. All you need to do, excuse me, is study yourself. And you'll become aware of it. And you begin to use these faculties that you were given at birth. Common sense will tell you how to use your mind to save yourself, your kinfolk, the nation, and the empire. All through the power of your mind. I give you one hint. Imagination. Mental screen. Seeing images not behind your eyelid. Close your eyes. Okay? See an image not behind your eyelid or in your head, but projected out about 6 feet in front of your eyelid. Develop your imagination. Project these images 6 feet past your eyelid. Put it out into the world. See it in color. All sensory inputs. Hearing, smell, sight, taste, touch. This is real manifestation or real manifesting. But there's more. We have other faculties. See, y'all been taught about manifesting in a way that makes you go out and buy books, buy audio programs, attend seminars. You haven't been taught how to actually use it, which is as simple as what I've just told you. Now, I will say it again. Go out, get the Silver Method. They got it on an audio book, or you can get the hard copy. Study it well. But there are other mind sciences. I'm recommending Silver Method because Silver Method teaches you how to create. It also tells you directly what some of your mental faculties are. And they've been demonized. These mental faculties have been demonized. Why? Because if you ever discovered that you have them and you begin to use them, then the hybrid has no power. None whatsoever. See, nobody can escape natural law. You can neutralize the effects of it, but guess what? If you're in honor, if the hybrid doesn't have you in dishonor anymore, well, guess what? Now it's time for the hybrid to start paying its karmic debt. Not only that, but your power is stronger than the hybrids. How about that? You in honor, you are stronger than the hybrid mentally. Why? Because your consciousness is vibrating at a higher rate, a higher frequency. A hybrid, now remember, there are 7 kingdoms. Well, y'all go get this out of the Kabbalion by the 3 initiates. See, the animal kingdom has a lesser vibration, a lesser intelligence, a lesser vibration than man. So now if you have a man mixed with a hybrid, instead of a man and a man, you have a lesser vibration. So that means less consciousness, lesser intelligence. Y'all see it? And the science has proven that already. I wish I could remember the name of the study. But y'all, there's a doctor, famous doctor. His name is Dr. Gabriel Oyebu. Gabriel Oyebu. He's the author of Gaga, God Almighty Grand Unified Theorem. Proven theorem, not theory, theorem. He was the first person I ever heard talk about this study that was funded by President Clinton back in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, where they tested the intelligence of different quote unquote races of people and primates. I think it was a monkey, chimpanzee, and orangutan. So we autochthonous Moors were at the top. I forgot. I don't remember the details. But y'all go and find it. Now that's the truth. And this explains why they're so scared of you. Why they're always attacking you mentally with these psychological operations, psych ops. Anyway, let's continue. The point I want to make is that if you are in dishonor right now, you can move out of dishonor to honor. The number of viewers on my screen when I started talking like that went to 1. It went all the way down to 1. Okay, let's continue. Let us continue. Pisces, however, is not Aries. It does not symbolize a new beginning. So let me show y'all. So when Mark was writing, they were in Aries, the ram's horn. Hence the Jews blew the shofar, right? They were in Aries, and then the zodiacal age during Mark's time, when he was writing the Gospels, right? During JC, the Christ figure, it went from Aries to Pisces. So now we're in Pisces. Pisces is either about to end or Pisces has already ended, and we're moving into Aquarius. And this is not water, y'all. This is electricity or lightning bolts. Okay? Why lightning bolts? Because during a storm, remember clouds are water bearers. So when there's a storm, the storm will produce lightning. Y'all see that? These are lightning bolts or electricity. All right? So this is what he's talking about. Pisces, however, is not Aries. It does not symbolize a new beginning. Pisces does not symbolize a new beginning, but Pisces does anticipate it and prepare for a new beginning. In Aquarius is a water bearer. Clouds are dust particles with water sitting on them. In Aquarius, we witness the breaking down of old structures. What old structures? Capricorn, corporations. Pisces, Christianity. Y'all hear that? Capricorn, December 25, corporations. Both nation states, including Catholicism, and for-profit and non-profit companies, such as your favorite, such as the blacks' favorite, Nike. All of the clothing brands, these corporations, all gone, all of them. All the non-profits, all. That means no more SSI, no more Social Security, no more 401k, no more Bitcoin. All of it will be wiped out. All right? And y'all know they already say that the corporations are coming down, right? Are being destroyed. In Aquarius, we witness the breaking down of old structures. So that would be what? Onum Sanctum, Manifest Destiny. These have all been implemented through religion and corporations. Nation states included. All right? Y'all know that the so-called courts are corporations, right? Yes, the so-called courts are corporations. So those are also going to be dismantled. You must go find the etymological meaning of anarchy. All right? So Aquarius will tear down all of the old institutions Why? To prepare for the emergence of the new system of things, which all been taught is God's kingdom. W.O.Y. Him and Pale writes, are you talking about Dr. Gabriel Oyibo? Yes. Yes, I'm talking about him. He talks about the DNA, the genes for intelligence. Y'all Google search Gaga, G-A-G-U-T, God Almighty Grand Unified Theorem. All right, so let's continue. The past has already been cracked open. Well, yeah, because it already happened, right? We now have to prepare to move through it. The church, which was not always ignorant of these things, have long recognized the importance of this period of the solar year by designating it a time of preparation and anticipation. So I'm assuming right here by this solar year. Actually, I don't know what he means by solar year. But anyway, let's continue. Lent is for reflecting on the past and for opening up the future. The Ash Wednesday anointing declares that our present suffering is cathartic, purgatorial perhaps, but not permanent. Right? What ends the suffering? When you die and go to heaven. Or when the kingdom of God comes, whatever your doctrine is. It is just the anguish of anticipated transformation. In other words, the church is telling you to sit down and shut up. The suffering is for your own good. Now give me your stuff. Give me your stuff. Go over there in the corner in the basement while I enjoy living in your house. In other words, they give you a religious meaning, although false. A religious, honorable, respectable meaning for your suffering. Y'all see that? That's all they're doing. So that you will accept the suffering. Right? So that you will accept it. If you ever stop accepting it, they have a big problem. Right? They have a big problem. Now they can't walk down the street and be comfortable. In fact, they can't go anywhere and be comfortable. Why? Justice will be served if y'all ever get out of that religious state of mind. All right? So let's continue. So Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. I don't know if we discussed that already. Jupiter, right? So Jupiter also rules Sagittarius. Let me see. All right, so Jupiter of Pisces, however, is not so extroverted, but Jupiter is no less honorable. Okay, so here's balance. Okay, so Jupiter, according to this author, is honorable. So that's the exact opposite of Pisces. Pisces is dishonorable, deceitful, liar. Okay, y'all? Jupiter is honorable, compassionate, or kind. Now, right now that doesn't sit well with me. Y'all know why? Because that's trying, y'all think about it. These Christians' behavior has been so antisocial, just straight up pathological in everything they touch, to the extreme. Y'all think they may have just said, now I don't know, I need to read up on this. Y'all think they may have either done one of two things. They may have added honor to Jupiter, compassion to Jupiter, and kindness to Jupiter to try to make Christianity look better. Because y'all remember, what we're talking about right now, astrology, was once common knowledge to everybody. These were not secrets. This only became unknown because the church started killing off the professors, the scientists. That's how the information became unknown to us. It was taken away through war, through terrorism. This is not new stuff. This is ancient. So now you can say Jupiter is kind, compassionate, and honorable. So, but this is what it allows the Christians to do. They can say, yeah, we did that, but we made a mistake. Right, and now we learn better. All right, so forgive us. Or maybe they ask for forgiveness. Why? Because you think, oh, well, they have the ability to be compassionate and kind and honorable. They just made some mistakes and you forgive them. Now they got you and they're going to do it again to you. Y'all see what I'm saying? So did they just throw that in there? Or is Pisces ruled by another planet? In other words, did they edit the characteristics of Jupiter? Or did they change which planet rules Pisces? Because the Christians have no history of being honorable, compassionate, or kind. Everything that they've ever done has been from a selfish motive, from a power motive, a genocide you out motive. Now tell me I'm wrong. What do they do when they offer countries a loan? First of all, why are they offering a loan with interest? What do they do if you don't pay it back? Y'all ever read about the Economic Hitman, that book, where he exposed what the U.S. and other Western countries have been doing all over the world? They offer you a loan. If you don't take it, they're going to exterminate you and your family. But the loan is going to be such that you can't pay it back. And when you can't pay it back, they're going to come in and take your water. They're going to take your oil. They're going to take your bridges, take your electricity, take everything, and then make the people pay for it. Make the people pay higher electricity or water bills. Increase the price of the gas and the oil. Charge them high fees to travel on the roadways. This is what they do. They offer you help with maintaining your physical health. And what do? They hide natural herbal treatments from you, make it illegal, and then they give you molecules that they create that make you sicker, or that kill you, or they tell you, like the Tuskegee experiments, are they going to help you with your health? But that's not what they're doing. They're doing tests on you. And y'all tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Where have they ever done anything out of the kindness of their heart? Okay, why haven't they told the truth about your nationality, who you are? These are Christians, y'all, running these institutions. Why haven't they given you your land back? Why haven't they given you your resources back? Why aren't they giving you rent payments? And why are they genociding you out right now? Why do policy enforcers genocide you out? All their public policies are designed to genocide you out, to make you uninheritable, to hit you, to turn you and attain you, to make you suffer on your own land. See, we have to think when we read. Don't just accept that Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. Don't just accept that the characteristics that they say in modern astrology are the characteristics of Jupiter. Don't even accept it when you read ancient writings, because they got common sense enough to cover their tracks. Now, are they going to be perfect? No. Are they going to be thorough? Yes. Will they make mistakes? Yes. Can you find those mistakes? Yes. How? Through using your analytical mind, critical thinking. And I'm here to help you develop those skills. So let's continue. So Jupiter echoes the genuine humanitarian. Whenever you see human, you should think Han Uman, the hybrid troglodyte nigger Han Uman, half man, half chimpanzee. All right. The humanitarian or Han Uman quality of Pisces, which seeks the greatest good of the greatest number. That's not true. Maybe the greatest good and greatest number of them, but even that's not true. Look at what they've done to their own people. Look how they throw their own people under the bus now. Now that they've totally captured or taken over the Western governments, look how they throw the hybrids under the bus. Y'all know when you go to an embassy overseas, a U.S. embassy overseas, y'all know that they will treat you like a welfare recipient. They will treat you, if you allow them, like you're at the welfare office. And you hear the hybrids complain all the time. All right? They threw the hybrids under the bus. So let's continue. Since the discovery of Neptune in the last century, so either two things about Neptune. Either Neptune already existed and they hid it because they never discovered anything that our ancient ancestors had not already known about. Or Neptune doesn't exist. It's one or the other. Okay, y'all? If it does exist, this is another case of them hiding information and claiming it as their own, bringing it out when they want to. So be very skeptical. This Neptune requires further research. Since the discovery of Neptune in the last century, however, it has been customary among astrologers to assign Neptune co-rulership of Pisces. Well, there's got to be a good reason why, right? Now, Neptune is also the deity, Neptune with the pitchfork, right? Under the water. Isn't that interesting, y'all? Christianity keeps taking you back in the water. Well, what's in the water? The land or the world of the dead. This is the place where the Raphaim go when they expire in their physical bodies. This is where Oannes and Dogon, the half-man, half-fish deity, that the Catholics, therefore all Christians, worship unknowingly. The Pope's hat, they call it a mitre. That's actually a fish head in honor of the deity Dogon or Oannes. There are other religions too wearing a mitre. There's a Hebrew Israelite organization who wears it. It's short, but if you look at it, it forms the shape of the mouth of a fish, the head and the mouth of a fish. They call it a mitre. It's spelled in different ways. Y'all can Google search it. Look up the etymology of mitre or mitre. All right? Okay. So again, this fish deity is associated with Christianity, Pisces. According to Allen, Pisces was in antiquity, quote unquote, under the care of the sea god Neptune, and was called Neptuni Sidus by millennials. Y'all see that? That quote is on page 340. And guess what 3 plus 7 plus 0 equals? 7, cosmic harmony. Y'all see how they're doing this? Y'all think that's a coincidence? Another one? And the principles which modern astrologers have ascribed to Neptune are mysticism. Isn't that interesting? Mysticism. Y'all know that JC was a Jewish person. The apostles were Jewish people. The Jewish people are interested in mysticism, right? Intuition, mediumship. Okay? Is that coincidence, y'all? Neptune is associated with mysticism, intuition, and mediumship. Why is Christianity associated with mediumship? They're not supposed to be, right? Spirit mediums, calling on the dead. Okay? All right, so modern astrologers have ascribed Neptune with mysticism, intuition, and mediumship. In one sense, more appropriate to the gentle, can y'all believe this crap? To the gentle, misunderstood Pisces. The gentle, misunderstood Pisces. Isn't that, again, I've said this a million times. They call these murderers misunderstood people. Like a Jeffrey Dahmer, like a school shooter, a mall shooter. They're calling them gentle and misunderstood. No, these are beasts who deserve to be executed immediately for their crimes. I'm reading on page 207, y'all. This is just impossible. Misunderstood Pisces. So the Christians are misunderstood. You need to forgive them for all the killing that they did, for all the murdering, for all the robbing, for the doctrine of discovery, from unum sanctum, for inter caetera, for their de facto Judeo-Christian legal system, for overthrowing the Republican form of government, I believe it was in 1871. You need to forgive them because they're really gentle, misunderstood people. They're actually quite compassionate. They just don't know how to deal with their fear and their low self-esteem, their lack of confidence. So they go rob, steal, and murder. And deceive. Do y'all buy this stuff? I hope y'all don't buy it. I hope y'all can see into this author's mindset because he reflects the rest of the people in his group. Hope y'all can see that. The only person who would believe this kind of stuff is a fool. Meaning to say that when you are in religion, you are a fool. You stop caring about you and you start caring more about your enemies because that's your doctrine. All right? You're nothing. These good people over here are suffering so much that they are committing crimes. And you're the victim. And you need to apologize and say, I'm sorry, Jamie Foxx. All right, so let's continue. So the gentle, misunderstood Pisces, what a joke. All right. Then the more fiery attributes of Jupiter. But this is a bicorporal sign, and it is fitting that it should have two rulers. Y'all hear that? I don't know about this, y'all. This sounds like they've been doing some editing. So Pisces gets two rulers. Pisces is so negative. Pisces is so negative that it needs two planets, Jupiter and Neptune, to make it look like it's not so bad, or to nigga-splain Pisces away. All the dirt and viciousness that Pisces is responsible for in history. Neptune and Jupiter. Neptune Neptune, when dominating Pisces, represents compassion, honor and kindness. Neptune, mysticism, intuition, mediumship. And the author is justifying it because it says Pisces is a bicorporal zodiac sign. All right? Neptune, which seems to be associated with transcending barriers, overcoming barriers. And Jupiter, which wants to jump over barriers. Maybe I'm wrong, but this sounds like a bunch of BS to me, y'all. I'm going to roll with my ancient ancestors. The Egyptians on page 206 said this. The Egyptians, the instructors of the Hebrews in astrology. Y'all got that? The Egyptians were the instructors, the teachers, the professors who taught the Hebrews astrology. Now, don't get it twisted. The Egyptians and the Hebrews are the same people. These are Moors. Don't get it twisted. So the Egyptians, the instructors of the Hebrews in astrology, are said to have abstained from eating fish out of the sea for dread and abhorrence. Dread. They felt terrorized, extremely fearful to eat fish. Pisces are fish, right? And it was abhorrible. How about this? Would you eat a plate of cow manure? Somebody put some cow poop on a plate, give you a knife and a fork, are you going to eat it? Well, that's what something that is abhorrible. It's an abhorrence. You'd be scared, right? You get sick and, maybe even cost you your life if you eat that. And when the Egyptians would express anything odious, anything bad, negative, funky, disgusting, they represented it in their writing by a fish hieroglyph. Now that's what the Egyptians, the masters of astrology, that's how they saw Pisces. But now the Jewish people are coming in and cleaning it up. Cleaning it up. Assigning Jupiter and Neptune to it. Okay? The same way they tried to clean up Pisces by saying that Joseph is Pisces. Anyway, y'all do with it what you want to do with it. I'm just giving you my thoughts, my opinions, my insights. All right? But whatever you do, make sure you do it with the intention to return to the Most High. So finally, we are in the subheading, the spiritual lessons of Pisces. Finally. Let me go back and check page 23. Let me check page 23. All right. So I don't see anything else on the list worth mentioning in the main incidents and zodiacal keywords. All right, so let me jump back to the spiritual lessons. All right, y'all. So now we're going to get into the Gospels. Now remember, we're looking for the main incidences. The author will either state them directly or we got to find them. Directly or indirectly. Zodiacal keywords will either be stated directly or we have to find them. They'll be stated indirectly, okay? So, time to start thinking. Spiritual lessons of Pisces. So he's opening up with a quotation. Do I want to read this? I'm not going to read the quotation. Let me scan through here looking for information from page 23. Give me 1 second, y'all. So according to the author, when you look at the first paragraph on page 208, he's saying that Mark's gospel damn. Fly was on my donut. Oh well. So the author says that Mark's gospel might be a useful guide to the spiritual life. Why is he saying this? Why is he saying it? Because it's so complicated, especially when you start talking about chapter 13. Chapter 13 clearly never happened in real life. Failed prophecies. Right? Clearly. Anybody in their right mind, well, let me rephrase that. If you have adequate reading comprehension skills, if you have adequate knowledge about history, and you're not brainwashed by Christianity, you'll clearly see that Mark chapter 13, this is just failed prophecies, like the author showed us in his writings earlier. You have to imagine these things to be true. So that's why the author is telling us in the last sentence of the first paragraph that Mark's gospel might be a guide to your spiritual life. Okay? That's the first thing. But you need to acknowledge that Mark chapter 13 blows the whole game. Mark chapter 13 blows the whole game because it's not true. And it's clearly not true. There's a possibility that in addition to symbolic and mythical elements, y'all see that? So since it's not true, how do you save the day? Well, you say, well, okay, we admit as scholars that it's not true. But it's symbolic. It's symbolic and mythical. It has symbolic and mythological elements. So we can still use it. Y'all see that? In other words, you got to know the doctrine. So just an alibi, just excuse. There's also the possibility that in addition to symbolic and mythological elements, the story contains some historical material. It is certainly possible that a holy man called JC the Christ figure was executed by the Romans, so they're saying that was possible, with the convenience of the Jewish authority. It is also possible that this man, that's JC the Christ figure, was the source of many of the sayings which are attributed to him in the gospel record. The gospel record he's talking about is the historical record. the biographical record, not the original gospel story that the ancient or the Coptic Egyptians wrote. That is not a historical or biographical gospel. Make the distinction. Okay? So Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, these are already edited. These are already edited from the original. The original was written in Coptic Egyptian language. Then it was translated into Latin. And then lastly, Coptic Greek, or Koine Greek rather, Koine Greek, or just Greek. But when it went up into Europe and got into the hands of the Goths and the Visigoths, that's when the major edits took place. JC was given a biographical history. All right, y'all? Okay. It is also possible that this man, JC, the Christ figure, was the source of the sayings which are attributed to him in the gospel records. Okay, so if it's possible, it's also possible that he is not. And there's evidence of that, right? And in fact, there are many writers who will say that JC never said anything new, or said very little that was new or hadn't been said by somebody else. All right? And that he founded a movement dedicated to the promulgation of divine wisdom. However, I do not think that Mark's gospel has such things as its principal concern, even though it may indirectly reflect them. In other words, he's saying he doesn't think Mark's gospel is meant to tell a biographical story of a historical Jesus. Let me read that again. However, I do not think that Mark's gospel has such things as its principal concern. So the truth about JC being a living man who walked on planet Earth and whose history is written in the gospel, that's not the principal concern of Mark when he wrote the Gospel of Mark. Do y'all see that? This is page 208. Even though it may indirectly reflect them. It indirectly reflects a biographical, historical JC, the Christ figure. But it ain't about that. Look up the meaning of principal concern. That ain't what the gospel is about. It ain't about a historical Jesus. This is what the author is telling us. The presence in the text of genuine place names, real historical characters, and verifiable customs and traditions does not guarantee history. The presence in the text of genuine place names, the names of cities, districts, countries, historical characters, and verifiable customs and traditions does not guarantee history. Doesn't guarantee that Christ ever lived on earth, ever walked on earth. Does not guarantee that he is a historical man. Clear as day. Okay? Let's continue. Mark's narrative is so contrived, so replete with Old Testament and zodiacal echoes that it cannot be mere chronicle. So he's giving you more details from the sentence we just read. The presence in the text of genuine named places, names of places, real historical characters, verifiable customs and traditions. Okay? So Mark's gospel is so contrived, made up, so replete with Old Testament and zodiacal echoes, is full of stuff from the Old Testament, including Zodiac stuff from the Old Testament, that it cannot be mere chronicle. All right? Chronicle, chronology, time, sequence. It ain't real. All right? It's a fairy tale, and they borrow from other sources, not just the Old Testament, not just Old Testament characters and stories. For example, JC has the same name as Joshua, does a similar role that Joshua does. Lots of parallels, right? Lots and lots of parallels, of which many are in this book, and I go over it. Okay, so y'all go back and watch all of those videos. We should be alerted to the text's heavily symbolic character by the stated dating of events. The author says you should be alert. You should be alert of the symbolism. There's so much symbolism. Okay? As stated by the dating of events. So let's just check this out. Mark leaves us no doubt that the series of incidents with which his gospel concludes took place at the time of the Jewish festival ceremonies. That's JC being crucified, right? Right, y'all? We did that last video or the video before. So go check that out if you want more. Or just read the book. If you don't want to hear what I got to say, read the book. It is not unlikely that a wandering preacher, that's JC, the Christ figure, it is not unlikely. So it's likely that JC could have been out preaching during the Passover. It is not unlikely that a wandering preacher would be present in Jerusalem at Passover time, nor is it hard for us to envision him antagonizing the authorities so greatly, that's the chief priests and the scribes and everybody else, so greatly that they would wish him killed. All of that, okay, that's reasonable. Somebody out, some preacher out talking trash, trying to stir up trouble, trying to anger the authorities, trying to embarrass them. Okay, well, we can see that happening around Passover, right? Why? Because you got a crowd. People from all over the world have returned to Jerusalem. Okay, so now if you really want to get your message out, get new members, well, you go out when the people come out. Right? So that we can see how that can happen. Let's continue. However, now when you see however, that's going to be on the other hand. Alternatively, okay, so we should get something to the opposite. However, that such an execution, in other words, however, that JC should be crucified. However, in other words, this is unbelievable. That other stuff was believable, but this is unbelievable. However, that such an execution, that such a crucifixion should take place on the day of Passover. On the day of Passover, according to Mark, as Mark declares, is well nigh impossible. It's impossible for the same reasons that I just mentioned. People from all over the world are there. The priests are busy, according to the story, slaughtering thousands upon thousands. What's thousands upon thousands, y'all? Thousands upon thousands. Of sheep. So they're busy, full of blood, stinky, disgusting. How they gonna find time to clean themselves up, get rested up, and then go get this guy crucified without worrying about the crowds? Y'all see that? Without worrying about what the crowds might want to do to them for trying to crucify somebody on the Passover. Are you supposed to be working on the Passover, y'all? Are you supposed to kill somebody on the Passover, y'all? Yes or no? Yes or no? However, that such an execution should take place on the very day of the Passover, as Mark declares, is well nigh impossible. The city would be full of people who had come from all over the world for solemn festivals. They're going to worship and worship in public. Holy religious rituals and festivals. And for the normally prudent Roman authorities to risk agonizing the crowds by executing anyone, prophet or pretender, defies reason. That's right. The Romans don't want to stir up trouble, right? Remember, if y'all read the stories about the wars between the Greeks and the Jews, the Romans and the Jews, and all of this stuff, they ain't trying to stir up trouble. They want this to be as peaceful as possible, right? Because if they have to start killing people to maintain order, it's not going to end on that day. That might go on for the next 6 months, the next 6 years. They got to fight now, right? So they wouldn't do it. It ain't worth it. You could do it tomorrow or next week and not have all the trouble, the fallout problems. Okay, y'all? In addition, that the Jews themselves would not plot an execution on one of the holiest days of the year. Let me repeat that. In addition, that the Jews themselves would plot an execution on one of the holiest days of the year is unthinkable. I agree 100% with everything he just said. Even if they were prepared to risk defiling the Passover itself, where on earth would they have found time for such chicanery? Where are they going to find time to do it? They're busy. For the high priest and their minions, this was the busiest time of the year. It is significant, I'm on page 209. It is significant that John's gospel, which at this point seems to reflect a slightly different tradition from Mark, dates the crucifixion differently. Now, we already went through this, right? So I'm not going to go over that. So we're going to stop here. We're going to pick up at the yearly cycle from Pisces to Aries. Okay, let me go back to 23 real quick. So I didn't see self-sacrifice. I haven't seen hidden things. We talked about dreams. We saw dreams. We saw suffering. We saw compassion, secret enemies. I don't remember seeing self-undoing. Of course, we saw deception. We saw betrayal and suffering, sacrifice, that's the crucifixion, death, resurrection. But we'll see what else we find. We got a couple more pages to go. I'm trying to remember that there's so much to remember. But we'll keep, next video I'm going to try to get through all of this faster because I'm ready to start a new book. I want to start a new book. So we're going to deal with the yearly cycle. That's the subheading, page 209. We're going to start there. All right. Oh, okay. So yeah. So suffering and we're going to find a lot more. Okay. So we're going to find a lot of these in this subheading because this is dealing with the equinox. All right. So the yearly cycle. So we're going to get into the rest of these things. We may be able to finish this within the next 1 or 2 videos, y'all. Okay? We may be able to finish it within the next 1 or 2 videos. Yeah. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all support my project to write the Book of the Law in modern English and Ancient Ibaryath, so you can see what it actually meant, the way our ancestors understood it. I'm going to put the astrology and the natural law back into it, okay? I'm going to take out all of the deception per Jeremiah 8, verse 8. If you want to see the details about that, look in the description area of the video. I'm going to tell you, not everything, but a lot of what I'm going to take out and put back in. It's already in there in the Ibaryath. It's just hidden from you in English. It's hidden in plain sight. All right? Shalom and Islam to all the Moors. Make sure y'all subscribe to my classes. The 101 Ancient Ibaryath class or 506 The Curses course. Also, if you want to learn the Ancient Ibaryath, I got links to all of my books in the description area of this video. Islam and Shalom.